Welcome back to another episode with the West Virginia Grill Billy. I know it's been a couple weeks since I posted a video. Been a little crazy around here. Totaled my car, had to go through getting another one, working a lot. But enough with the excuses. Let's get right on the barbecuing. Here is a Boston butt. We're going to do some pulled pork for a work day at the church tomorrow. And I'm going to cook lunch for everybody. We're doing pulled pork. And no, we're not just going to eat one. I've got two more prepped already, sitting over here to the side. But I'm going to show you guys how I get my rub on and get it on the grill. So, first of all, I start with just some yellow mustard, just as a binder, so the rub will stick. Use the left hand. Yeah, get that on there real good. Get a good coat of that mustard. I'm not trimming these. A lot of times when I do pulled pork, I'll trim it, get off some of the fat and stuff, but we're not going to trim these. We'll pick out the parts we don't want to eat. Now we're going to put some rub on. This is bone sucking sauce, seasoning, and rub. It's not too bad. It's I've used it a couple times. It's got some really good flavor and color. It's not necessarily my favorite one, but I like it. So you make sure you coat all the sides really good. Just like that. Now let's flip it over. We'll get some more mustard on the other side. Should do this without making a mess. It's getting late in September around here, and the temperatures have been staying up in the mid-80s. It's really hot, especially for September. So, kind of leaves the season a little longer for barbecuing and grilling around here. Of course, me, I don't know about you guys, but the Grill Billy, I like to barbecue and grill out all winter long. The cold weather usually don't stop me from getting out there. I've been known to be grilling chicken and steak out there in my winter coat on the back deck. I don't know about you guys, but I like to grill, and I do it year round. All right, let's get the end right here. Get it on there on a good coat. Make sure I don't want to see any meat. I want to make sure we're coating it really good. And there we go. All right, there we got it coated really good all the way around, both sides. So we'll probably let that sit for just a few minutes and let the rub kind of sweat into the meat a little bit, and let it stick really good. Just a minute, we're going to get it on the grill, get it in the smoker. I want to smoke it at about 250 degrees. I'm not going to put them in the pan. I'll take them out of the pan and put them directly on the rack. We'll let them sit in there till they reach about 165. And then when they reach 165, I'll bring them back in, put them in these aluminum pans and wrap them with foil really good. Probably pour a little apple juice in them before I wrap them to keep them good and moist. And then I'll put them back in the smoker. We'll let them hit 205. And when they hit 205 degrees, that's when I like to bring them in and let them rest for about an hour. And then we pull them apart and make some really good pulled pork. So that's how I like to get it prepped and ready. Just a minute, we're going to put it on the grill. We'll see you then. Ready to put this stuff on the grill now. I got all three of them out here. My Pit Boss, I've got it set. I told you guys earlier I was going to smoke on 250. I got my Pit Boss set on 300. It'll heat them up a little bit faster, get them to 165. I'd like to get this stuff done and be able to pull them this afternoon and get it in and get them prepped so I can put them in crock pots in the morning and take them out to the church. So I'm going to heat them up at 300 to start with, and then we'll see. We might cool it down to 250 and let them finish off this afternoon at 250. But a lot of you guys, people ask me what I smoke with. Today I'm using the Pit Boss brand all natural fruit It's a cherry, apple, and maple blend fruit pellet of wood pellets. So I've been using this, as you can tell. I emptied the bag with this when I filled up my hopper, and it emptied the bag. And I've been using this one for the last few weeks, and it's really really got a good flavor, a good sweet smoky flavor from the fruit tree, or the fruit wood in this. So that's what I'm using to smoke with. Now let's open her up. You can see that smoke coming up out of the pit boss. You like it, just a light smoke. You don't want to have a real heavy smoke when you're smoking your meat. You want to have a light smoke going through, that way you get the flavor instead of a big heavy char of smoke on the outside. That light smoke will give a good bark. There's a second one. And we'll get this third one on there. There's three. All right. Got all three of them in there. We'll let these dudes rest in there and get good and hot and get up the temperature. And we'll see you guys later on when we reach 165. I'll show you how I wrap them and get them ready to go. Alright guys, I brought the pork shoulders in, and you can't see it real good from that angle, but I'll bring one of them up here. Look at that color. Reached about 170 degrees. A lot of times they stall about 160, 165. But these were climbing on up there a little bit. I got them out at 170. Most of the time what I'll use is like some apple juice or apple cider vinegar. Pour some liquid in on these and then wrap them, put them back in. I thought today I'd try something a little different. Instead of apple juice, today I'm going to use some old-fashioned Coca-Cola. What we'll do is we'll pour a can of Coca-Cola over our meat, just like so. That'll get a good sweet, sugary flavor in there as it's cooking. And then we're going to pour a little apple cider vinegar on top of it. A little bit of the tart, bitter taste. There we go. We'll do that to each one of them. We'll pour Coke on it. Pour the Coke on it. Pour the apple cider vinegar on it. And we'll wrap them up real good and put them back in the smoker. One thing I didn't tell you guys when I put them in the smoker to start with is I put another aluminum pan in on my top rack about half full of water. You always want to make sure you got a water pan in there if you're smoking pork butts, because you don't want them to dry out during the smoking process. You want a good smoke ring and you want that good smoky flavor, but you put them in there not wrapped, just sitting on the grills. If you don't put something in there to keep some moisture in your grill, you'll dry them out. So we'll put a little vinegar on top of that now. A little vinegar on top of this one. Alright, now when you pour liquids on top, when you pour the liquids on top, some of your rub will come off. You know, when you pour stuff on top of the meat, the rub will come off the side. So what I'm going to do is, I'm going to come back some of that rub we put on it and just give it another coat on top. Keep that rub on there. Plus this will add a little bit more flavor to it. Just coat it right on top just like that. There we go. So when you get done, get this over here without making a mess. That's what it'll look like. Some fresh rub on top of it, your liquids down in the pan. A little Coke with apple cider vinegar. Now what we're going to do is we're going to take some aluminum foil, put it right over the top. Make sure you Go around all your edges, tuck up in there, get it good and tight, like so. We'll do this to all three of them. We'll wrap them up real good. A little bit of juice coming out of that one. Might have a hole in my pan. I'll have to get another pan. 1 second. This is just the pan I was using for my water pan. I can use this no problem. There we go, double pan it. Got that one double pan now, no leak. Alright, we'll put another sheet of aluminum foil on this one. Around your edges. Like so. You always want to make sure you don't have any leaks in your pan before you put them on the grill. Well, it doesn't do any good for that liquid to pour all over your grill and get on the ground. It's not giving your meat any flavor, not keeping it juicy. There we go. Now for the last one, put this on there. Hook it up really good. All right. Now all I got left to do is put them back on the grill. I'll put my probe in it. And when they reach 205 degrees, I'll bring them in and let them rest. And they'll be ready to pull after a while. So for me, it'll be a few hours. For you guys, it'll be just a second. Okay. The pork butts have smoked for, I think it was around 8-9 hours. They reached 206 degrees. I brought them inside. Some people like to put them in a cooler, and that's a really good way to let them rest. You bring them in, just set them in a cooler and leave them for a couple hours and let them rest really well. That way all the juices get back into them. Me personally here at the house, I like to, I'll put them in the oven. Just don't turn the oven on. I'll just put them in the oven, and the oven's good at holding the heat in, and just let them rest in there for a couple hours, and they usually turn out pretty good. So I've got one of them out here. I'm going to show you how I get her out here and pull them apart and get them ready for some lunch tomorrow at church for our work day. So first of all, the good test is this right here. This is your shoulder bone. If that comes out just like that right there, that's good. Look here. That meat's good and tender. You stick that shoulder bone right down in there. That's good and tender. Now these, I usually use heat gloves and do this, but my heat gloves got damaged a few weeks ago and I've never replaced them. So today I'm going to pull this pork with these. My wife got these from Pampered Chef. They look like mini pitchforks. They look like something you'd see in a cheap kung fu movie. But they work really good for pulling pork. I can pick it up, slide this a little closer to keep them gripping everywhere. Pick it up and put it right down in there. Man, that was a mess. Alright. Put this meat down in here. Look at all that. Ooh, look here. That bite right there. That looks like one to try. Oh, buddy. Man, that's good. Now what I like to do, you see this right here? That's a little bit of the juice. That's some of the Coca-Cola and the vinegar that I poured in. I'm going to pour that some of that right back in the bowl. And then now we'll pull this pork just like this here. Twist it. Look here at that. You see this pink right here? That's a really good bark. That smoke got down into the meat. That's what you're looking for. Here's some more of it right here. See that pink right there and around the outside of it? That's your smoke ring. That's your good bark you got from the smoker. So really this is all there is to it. You get this pulled apart. Get it separated real good. You go through and pick out some of the, now this right here, I can get all this out Get this separated here. This is that fat that's on the one side. When you cook it, it crusts up and gets all in one piece. So you can take that right out of your meat. So that's not in there. And then you pull the meat apart. That's all 100% pork. Good for sandwiches. Now I like to make a homemade coleslaw to go with this. I got a Carolina style barbecue sauce, which I've actually got on the stove right now simmering. We may go into that later on another video about how to make a Carolina style barbecue sauce. Vinegar base to use on your pulled pork. I haven't made any coleslaw yet because the meal is tomorrow and I don't want to make it up too far in advance. Here's another section I like to get out. There we go. And there you go. That's a bowl full of pulled pork. If I could get my assistant right there to hand me a bun out of the cabinet, I'll put one of these on a bun real quick and we'll have a little taste test. See what we got going on here. Alright. That's how the magic happens right there. You ask and you shall receive. That's what the Bible says. No, not really. Alright. Let's get this pulled apart. It's kind of hard with this big old fork. As a matter of fact, do this Grillbilly style. I'll just reach down there with my hand and grab some of it. Look here at that. It's a pile of pork. Look at that. Pulled pork sandwich. Now I haven't added any extra sauces, any rub or anything to this. That's just the meat after I've smoked it. And that's really good. Now something I like to do is, after I pull it, I'll go back and put a little bit of rub on it, mix it up real good. That seasons it a little bit more. But I'm going to do that tomorrow before I take it to the meal. That way the seasoning will be fresh in it. But that's a really good pulled pork sandwich right there. So hopefully, that's good. Hopefully if you like what you see, you want to learn how to do some more barbecuing, you like to watch the Grillbilly do some cooking and do some barbecuing, like my channel, subscribe, and tune in for more videos. Thanks for watching.